All right. So emotional processing is this big word that we hear about and it kind of feels scary. And we get a lot of questions from clients and when we're on podcasts about like, what does this do and what do we need it? And we dive all into that. But let's talk about 4 signs that you may see in yourself and in your life that really are signs and symptoms that you need to do more emotional processing, not only for your, handling of life, but for your actual brain. So what are some of those symptoms, Mary?
Yeah, I would start with these are some really common ones. Number one, you feel like you have a short fuse, so you just can't handle one more thing. Like you just can't take one more person being in your space. That's one thing. If you can't make a decision, you're like, I'm gonna think about it later. I just don't have the bandwidth right now to even think about that thing. If you feel like, I just don't, I have a creative block. I just can't. I usually can like draw or think about things or come up with good ideas, but I don't have that ability right now. And if you're procrastinating at something, because generally there's some feelings behind that. So, Allie, how can we approach this? How should we start emotionally processing?
I love that because those are
Mhm.
such common things that we don't maybe necessarily tie to emotional processing. We think just like, oh, it's a negative mood or like I'm kind of stuck in this. So understanding that that is tied to emotional processing and then you have the power to do something about it, which is so huge. Not only help to improve your creativity, improve your, productivity and improve your focus, but also feel better. So when it comes to emotional processing, how do you do that? And this can look really different for everyone. I always like to encourage trying all different ways and then seeing what feels good. So the first thing can be like you always tell everyone is sharing those emotions, really tuning into what you're feeling, asking yourself, building the habit of like asking yourself that question of how do I feel right now on a regular basis. So how do I feel right now at 10 a.m. every day? How do I feel right now at 1? How do I feel right now at 7 p.m.? And building that habit of continuously tuning into how you feel and then allowing that to happen. Once you start to do that, you may notice a pattern or a trend that you can then start to address. But the second thing can be really journaling, just writing out how you feel. You know when you're frustrated, you know when you're disappointed, you know when you're, just dragging or feeling kind of empty or lonely. So writing that out and acknowledging it can be a really powerful thing. Even if you don't save that paper, you rip it up because sometimes it's a little scary to put the emotions down on paper. It makes it more real. And of course, you don't want someone to see it or whatever kind of judgment that you're having about that. But getting them out of your mind and onto paper can be so freeing. And then actually, the act of ripping it up, letting it go, can be really, really positive. I think another way to do that is meditation and visualization where you're really starting to tune in to allowing things to let go and allowing yourself to feel the feelings, if that means cry or if that means just kind of be in it in the moment even if it's not comfortable. But I think the symptoms are the most important thing because those are the signs that you may think like I'm handling it all fine and you may be really just compressing and squishing it down. So once you start to see like, oh hey, yeah, I do have trouble making decisions, or ooh, yeah, I am really snapping at my kids or even at a coworker or something, then that is your clue to like tune into this. And this luckily is a huge part of what we talk about in our 4-week program, in our 4-week course, where we break down like what is happening in the brain when it comes to our emotions and how are these actually working against us when it comes to productivity and focus, or how are they working for us and allowing us to be more creative. So if you are, you know, experiencing some of these symptoms that Mary mentioned, we are completely here to support you. You are not alone. We've all been through it. And there's so many tools and strategies that are easy to implement starting today. So check out the course if you have any questions about that. And we're always here if you have any questions as well.